A very, very warm welcome to all of you, of course, to the first edition of the Global Art and Design Education Expo. And thank you very much for joining us for this exciting panel discussion on art and design education opportunities in Ireland, which is presented by Education in Ireland. So today we have with us Wendy De Souza. She is the Vice President, India and South Asia for Education in Ireland. And along with her, we have our esteemed panelists from the Griffith College, Galway Mayo Institute of Technology, and IT Carlow, Ireland. So, without further ado, let's begin this session. Wendy, over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Mitali, and thanks Team Zista for this opportunity. To do this session on art and design education, the opportunities in Ireland. In the next 30 minutes or so, we'll give you a teaser of what you can expect in Ireland, particularly with arts and design education. I do have, an esteemed panelist with me today. I'll do a brief introduction of him. We first have Dr. Paddy Tobin. He's the head of School of Design and Creative Arts at Galway Mayo Institute of Technology. Paddy joined GMIT in 1996 and has previously been a lecturer Galway and Letterfrack campuses, program chair in Letterfrack, and head of department at the Center of Arts and Creative Arts and Media. We are also joined by Kira Healy-Merson. Kira Healy-Merson is a writer, book artist, curator, and lecturer in art, culture, and heritage at Institute of Technology, Carlow, Ireland. She is the recipient of an Impact Research Award from the University of Reading in 2016 and a large grant award of Arts Council Wales for the curatorial research project titled Thin Place in 2015. She was one of the 2011 recipients of the Wales Arts International and Access Critical Writing Award. Our third panelist is Deirdre Doherty. She is the head of design at Griffith College. Deirdre has led the design faculty in program design and curricular development at both undergrad and postgrad levels. As program director, Deirdre engages in college-wide issues such as policy formulation, management of academic processes, policy discussion, etc. Deirdre is a long-serving member of the Institute of Designers in Ireland. Before we actually speak to our panelists, I would like to take this opportunity to speak to you about a few things about studying in Ireland. Ireland actually has over 40,000 international students studying there from 161 countries, and they are studying from over the 5,000 programs that are being, that are there on offer. Most courses, undergraduate courses in Ireland would be 4 years, and the postgraduate courses would be 1 year. With the 4 years undergraduate courses, you do have a 1 year post-study work visa, and with the 1 year postgraduate study, you have a 2 year work study visa. So basically, the PSW for an undergraduate program is 1 year, and for the PG program, it's 2 years. The general fees for arts and design, which would come under the humanities faculty, would for an undergraduate would be between 10,000 euro to 19,000 euro per year, and the same would be for a PG between 10,000 to 19,000, depending on the institution you're looking at going to. And each of the institutions that are here, when you visit their booth, they would tell you what specifically their course fees are. The cost of living in Ireland would be between 10,000 euro to 14,000 euro, again depending on where you're going to be living. It's similar to in India. If you're living in Mumbai, it is going to be a lot more expensive than a remote area in India. So similarly, if you're wherever you're choosing to stay, according to the cost of living would vary. There are various scholarships on offer for Indian students specifically. Each of the institutions can tell you about it. But it could be as less as 1,000 euro off on the fee to up to 50% off on the fee. And each institution will be able to tell you what is the criteria and the process to apply for the scholarship. A good reference site for all of you would be educationinireland.com. It will have everything regarding studying in Ireland, whether you're looking at scholarship, tuition fees, whatever, everything is mentioned there. I think we should now go ahead with our panel discussion, and I would actually like to ask the first question to Kira and Deirdre. Uh, what do you think Ireland is, why do you think Ireland is a good choice for Indian students to study arts and design? Maybe Kira, you can answer first.
Hi, good morning or good afternoon. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this discussion today. I think Ireland is a good choice for Indian students to study art and design for a number of reasons. Its art colleges offer a range of courses. You can study fine art, media, painting or sculpture. There's also design degree options in fashion and jewellery, in metalwork and ceramics, glass, textiles, as well as visual communication and product design. Also, Ireland is it's a small country. It's a safe place to study, and it provides very good supportive networks for students. So it's excellent for your career opportunities because Ireland has a lot of in their art colleges a lot of partnerships with other organisations. For example, where I teach, we have in Wexford we have the Wexford Arts Council. There is a large gallery there and an arts institution there, and a lot of our students have opportunities to exhibit their work there. So we build on these partnerships both nationally and internationally, and that creates really good career options for you because you're starting to build those networks right from the beginning of your course.
Thanks,
So
Kira.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree a lot with what Kira said. So the Irish education system is one of the best in the world, and there's a lot of confidence and how we've treated international students. We look after them really well. So many of the institutions are internationally ranked as well. It's important to remember that Ireland is an English-speaking country. So now that the UK is exiting the European Union, it's a great opportunity for Indian students to come and study in an English speaking country and will also give them access to Europe as well. Ireland has also great links with the US, and you'll find that many of the leading global multinationals are based in Ireland. So the likes of Google, HP, Apple, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pfizer, just to name so few. So a lot of them hire international students as well because a lot of their business is worldwide and global. So there's great opportunities for work for Indian students because they're obviously looking for the language as well. I would agree with Kira. We look after international students really well. Ireland is a small country known for our friendliness and hospitality. And, you know, while an Indian student studies in Ireland, they can avail of the opportunities with the connection with Europe. But also, I mean, you can get to the UK quite quickly. It's only an hour on a flight as well. A very young population in our capital, where I'm based in Dublin. So it's a very vibrant young place, a great place to study and to go out and meet new people. And again, I just echo what Kira said. It's a very safe place as well, which is important for, I suppose, families sending their children abroad.
Yes, thanks, Kira and Deirdre, and some really excellent points. But there's one particular one which I liked was uh, Ireland being such a small country with a small population. Most of the professors are from industry, so the courses are industry led. Very practical in nature, and that's something that students should remember because when you come to study in Ireland, you're going to get something that's what industry wants. Dr. Paddy, if I move on to you, okay, are there enough post-study opportunities in Ireland after students finish studying?
Thank you, Wendy. Yes, and I'm going to talk about when you say post-study, I presume you mean postgraduate studies more so than, than job opportunities. There are over 30 third-level institutions in Ireland, and obviously they all offer undergraduate programs, but they all offer postgraduate opportunities, or virtually all offer postgraduate opportunities as well. And I don't know if our audience is aware, we have a progression within our education system where when you finish your undergraduate bachelor's honours degrees, we call it level 8, you go on to postgraduate studies at level 9 and level 10. And really the opportunities, I suppose they can be categorized into research opportunities, postgraduate research, and taught programs, which are courses that are delivered as you would normally have had experienced. And again, many of the institutions offer research opportunities, and these are individualized. It depends on your area and what projects and funding is available. But the taught programs are very popular also. They're structured programs. But in more recent years, we are seeing a lot of new types of programs emerge, which are a hybrid of research and taught programs. So you have an element of taught subjects, and then you have usually a fairly significant element of research projects. And we find that a lot of them are what we call practice-based programs now, particularly in the design and creative areas, where people would be engaging in research work into particular projects, possibly writing up reports and theses to go with that. A lot of them are studio-based as well. So we have these types of practice, we call them practice-based programs, and they're really regarded as structured postgrads. We have one in our own department in creative practice. And we have, and these type of programs are increasing a lot, and we're now seeing a new type of program emerging. You mentioned the relationship with industry there and the fact that we're so close to industry, but we're seeing newer programs now emerge, which are more what we call work integrated programs. This is where people are at work, and it's different from part-time programs. They're at work, and what they're doing at work is recognized as part of their learning and part of their postgraduate study. So there are some institutions starting to develop these in this area at the moment. So if I mean I could stay on for a long time listing out all the different postgraduate programs there are in Ireland for people in the design area and in the creative areas. There are just so many opportunities. But as to say, we have a few in our own institution. We have the Masters in Creative Practice. We have a new one launched this year in Design and Innovation, which is a broader range of options for people who might be coming from engineering, from other areas. And for ourselves, we have a lot more in development, and I'm aware that a lot of our colleagues in other institutions are developing new programs at the moment as well, because the industry is changing so much, the requirements are changing so much. So areas like we're working on areas like creative enterprise and entrepreneurship and design practice, media practice, even education practice related to the creative industry. So it really is a huge range of opportunities there.
Thanks, Dr. Paddy. Again, it's, if you could understand from what Dr. Paddy is saying, he's also saying that the courses are industry-led, and year on year, we have seen that Ireland has come up with the latest kind of courses. I think things like, artificial intelligence came up way before it was even known kind of an industry. Same with arts and design. They've got really very, very good courses that are there. You can go to their booths and speak to them. Maybe the next question I could ask to Deirdre. Can you let us know about how digitization has helped in designing by throwing some light on what are the new technologies that are being used in Ireland? Deirdre, you're on mute, I think.
Sorry, Wendy. So the biggest transformation we're all experiencing at the moment, we're living in the fourth technological revolution, but education has now swiftly had to move to a blended mode where we're still doing practice and using technology to deliver courses. But from the courses that we run in Griffith, fashion, interiors and communication design, we're looking at the transformation, bringing people together, looking at data, creating value for the clients as well as technology. So in the realm of interior design and architecture, we can see a lot of technology based on smart homes now. 3D printing has revolutionized interiors as well, where you can look at furniture design. It's really created different shapes and forms that you wouldn't normally get. So more organic shapes are happening within the interior space, but you can prototype quite quickly with 3D printing as well. Smart design tools are across all the spectrum of design. So back in the day when I was studying, we were using measuring tapes and a pen and pencil. So everything is used now on screens. Obviously, every design starts off with a concept, a sketch, but students now quickly, can prototype using tools like the Adobe Cloud, SketchUp, Autodesk, and they're now moving into virtual reality. So in terms of interiors, you can see instead of developers creating show homes for people to come and look inside, people are now putting on virtual VR glasses, and they can see the interior of an entire home, and it can be sold based on a virtual reality. We also use virtual reality in terms of trying to design for people with dementia, so you can quickly click the screen and view through the eyes of somebody with dementia. So it shows how their environmental spatial realization changes, the color changes, the light changes. So it's really good in terms of research. The other technological revolution that's happening is in sustainability, and that's across interiors and in fashion, because all these smart tools allow you to prototype quite quickly. And, part of the problem with mass production is, that we are destroying the environment. So if you can prototype quite quickly, you can change materials, you can look at things quite quickly, and obviously not create as much pollution. I talked about virtual reality, but the big thing for design and architecture at the moment, and we're running programs on, is BIM. BIM is building information modeling, and it is just huge across the world at the moment. It's a collaborative design tool, and it allows people work in large scale projects. So you can work in a project and you can have, the designer, the architectural team, the M&E, the engineers, the quantity surveyor, all working on one project file, and then it goes then to the facilities manager. So that's amazing as well. Regarding fashion, then, it's quite interesting that it's now taking the form of three-dimensional design as well, where new programs have come on board like Clio, and they're using avatars, so you can take a picture of yourself and see what you look like before you actually buy the garment. So try before you buy, and Nike and some of the sports stores are using it as well. So you can take a photograph of your feet and try on the latest Nike runners, or another brand using it is Vans as well. So these 3D garments as well, kind of, you're looking at something that hasn't been created yet. So, it's not buying into the whole mass production as well. So there's a real growth in that area. So digital clothes are being sold that don't even exist, and they're being influenced by the gaming sector as well. So my kids all play games like Fortnite. So they came up with the concept of these skins. So now you can buy clothes that are virtual as well, which is great. So it's really, really changed the whole dynamic. But really the benefit for designers is that you can iterate hundreds of times without having, the costs that we used to have with production. And with fashion, a lot of stuff is offshore, so you can easily, have stuff manufactured in China or India, and you're just sending an email because your whole design file is digital. So it's quite a revolutionary time that we're living in, and even education now has completely changed. It's exciting.
Oh, that's really fantastic. I mean, should mention that Ireland also has a huge gaming industry, and some of the top companies are based in Ireland, like Zynga, PopCap. You have Havoc. All of them do have their base in Ireland. So anybody who is looking at game design and all can also look at Ireland. Kira, if I could ask you, how Ireland provides a perfect creative environment for students interested in studying art?
Thank you, Wendy. Yeah, I think there's some good points to make there. As Deirdre and I mentioned before, Ireland is a small country, but that's not a bad thing at all. It means that you can develop networks both nationally and internationally very easy. So, for example, as we were saying already, a lot of creative courses in Ireland are industry-led. So just to give you an example, in the Wexford campus in IT Carlow, where I lecture. I have colleagues who are exhibiting in Belgium, in the US. They're working across different projects in China. And so even though it's in a small location, we have these very big internationally recognized artists who are teaching and leading the programs. Another thing that's become very important, I think, for students wanting to go into industries is a lot of our courses are very socially engaged. So basically, this means that it's preparing students to think about being socially responsible in their careers. So, for example, where I teach, we run a program that specifically focuses on art and communities. So developing design briefs or developing creative ways for communities that maybe don't have a voice to be able to be seen and heard and given agency. And that also leads into, we have lots of public art opportunities in Ireland. So when you graduate and you qualify as an artist, there are many opportunities whenever a new building or a new road is commissioned to be built in Ireland. 10% of that government money is offered to an artist to create a public artwork for that space. So what it means is, if you can imagine, in Mumbai, every single government building, every single publicly funded road has an artwork that is commissioned to support it or to create a sort of a positive experience there. Also, Culture Ireland is the big funding body. It's the Arts Council in Ireland. They are very supportive of emerging artists and creative people. So again, that's another way to build networks. Also, when you're studying art in Ireland, especially on our program, we have a visiting lecturer program. So basically that means that because we are all connected to different industries, we can invite people from those industries to come to our college and to speak to our students, to provide tutorials, but also for them to offer guidance on career paths and opportunities. And so actually what that means is, right from the very beginning, when you're a first year student, you're meeting internationally recognized artists and designers, and you're getting to know them, and they're also offering you their support as part of your learning experience. So I would say all of those things would constitute a very good environment for students interested in studying art in Ireland.
Thanks, Kira. That was really interesting to hear. Dr. Paddy, if I could ask you to throw some light on the future of design in Ireland. I know Deirdre has covered some bit, but if you could, let us know what students could expect, as a future of design in Ireland.
Thanks, Wendy. Yes, Deirdre has covered up very well there on we'll say the advances in on the digital side, and that makes a huge difference to design generally, not just in Ireland. So the design and creative activity generally in Ireland is really a mirror of design globally, because we have all this connectivity, technology, digitalization of design in so many different ways. So really in Ireland now, design and the creative industries, we tend to use this as a cover to cover a range of different industries, but these are really global industries now. So people working in Ireland work globally. We have graduates, for example, from our furniture design program in Letterfrack, who are based in Galway, but none of their work is in Ireland. It's all in the USA. So they're constantly doing design work with companies, architects, large federal companies in the USA. So you can work basically globally in any subsector of the creative industries anywhere in the world from Ireland, and that's what we do. That's what a lot of our graduates do. And to give you an idea of the scope of this for design and in the creative industries, it spans like TV, film, broadcasting, animation. You mentioned games, any digital content online or on mobile, advertising, publishing, and then if you move into the more traditional design areas like graphic design, product design, fashion, interior architecture, again, all of those, they can be all done globally from Ireland at the moment. So this is the future. And of course, you have the newer design areas like user experience design, interaction design, and even service design. So these are all exciting areas, which, as I say, we're in a global market. But you also see the design processes and design thinking has become hugely interesting to other areas of business. And there are people now, crossover opportunities into these areas, and they've been applied in other industries all the time now. And one of the reasons why this is that the skill set that you would gain from the courses in any of our institutions, this creative skill set, creative skills, visual skills, digital skills, and you always have various technical or craft skills as well. But problem solving skills are key to it all. They transfer very well between disciplines and subsectors. And those skill combinations, when you're looking to the future, and you mentioned earlier about artificial intelligence, Wendy, these are the skill combinations. They will be very difficult to automate or to replace with artificial intelligence. So if you're looking to, ensure your skills for the future, this is a very good skill set combination. You won't be replaced by artificial intelligence or robots. Deirdre also mentioned sustainability. Sustainable design is coming into everything now. It's absolutely every aspect of any of those sectors that I talked about. And it's transferring now into how we make sustainable design effective in sustainable communities and sustainable living. And just to finish up on it in terms of the future for design, there's a huge amount of investment going into design and into design and education. And we on the call here, Deirdre and others, are involved in Design Educators Ireland, where we get together on a regular basis to look at what we're doing to promote and support design in the creative industries in Ireland. And there's some very exciting developments in this area at the moment in terms of how we're getting funding and the interest in our programs. And just to finish, I think about 3 weeks ago, the European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, announced plans. This is part of the European Union's 750 billion coronavirus recovery plan, but she focused on this idea that they want to create a new sort of cultural sustainable movement in the European Union, but sparked by design. They're talking about a new European Bauhaus. And if you're aware, the Bauhaus was the very famous German design school. And I think that this is more of a virtual concept now, not just a physical location. They're talking about a co-creation space where you'll have possibly a virtual space where many different types of designers and creators will come together right across Europe. And of course, Ireland is a very big part of that. So I think in terms of the future for design in Ireland, it's the future of design globally, and it's very bright.
Thanks, Dr. Barry. I think that is a really interesting point, and I think the point that was made earlier with UK leaving, the European Union, and Ireland will always be part of it. A lot of the funding that is there, part of the European Union, is still accessible. Ireland can still access that, and that is a great advantage. Besides that, the government of Ireland also is giving a lot of funding to institutes, whether it's for research or for some development. So the government of Ireland is also very supportive on those fronts. I think this was a really interesting panel discussion, but I think we should move on to some of the questions because I can see there are a lot of questions. There is one specific question about distance learning available for undergraduate students. Is that something your institutes would provide, that a student could learn via distance and not actually come to Ireland for a design and art program?
Just to come in, Wendy, first of all, my programs are all practical based. So anything that was academic, like a module like visual culture history, we're able to pivot quite quickly online. But really, I don't think there's a replacement yet for practice-based disciplines. So you would, even though we're restricting because of COVID the amount of time somebody has to come into the college, but really there's not much of a replacement yet for the face-to-face, the hands-on. Well, we're not physically doing hands-on, but that face-to-face learning and peer learning that you get from a design discipline, because you can have everyone in the same class doing the same project, but they approach it, the creativity differently. So you need to still physically have that link, but we are doing academic modules online.
Okay, Kira?
Yes, I would agree with Deirdre. So we are similar. We're doing the academic modules online, so film studies, critical theory, art history, design history. But students still need to learn how to use hand tools, how to cut wood, how to carve stone, how to apply paint. And so our students are in 1 or 2 days a week in very small groups, and they're learning that direct experience with materials, because I think especially with art, materials that's our language, so we need to kind of have experience of using that. Yeah.
I I would echo there, Wendy, what Deirdre and Ciara have said, and I think there are some interesting new developments also. I mean, we do. Our programs are very much in skills based generally. A lot of design programs and creative programs are, and you need those technical and craft skills. So you need to be in the environment and be physical to engage with those. But we are seeing the early stages of a move towards work integrated programs. And I think what you'll see is a lot of the programs, and we're looking at this at the moment, and we're actually on the route to moving some of our later years, like third and fourth years, to become more work integrated. So if you've got a very strong basis of the practical technical skills in your first year and second year in your undergraduate program, there are opportunities then to start engaging with the industry. And really, you need there's good partnerships developing between industry and education, certainly in Ireland, but we also have international partners as well, where those partners would become part of our system, our education system. They would agree that these are the kind of skills students could learn at work, and then you have the online modules, as Ciara and Deirdre mentioned as well, to support those type of work integrated learning opportunities. So I think that's coming. I don't think it's there yet, but I think that will be part of the future.
Thanks for answering that. Anyone of you can take this question, and I should actually mention thanks, Rachel, for answering a lot of the generic questions that will avoid us taking them on over here. So we have a question on, can you tell us a little about the PG courses in UI and UX design? Does anybody have something like that?
Well, our postgrad is applied interaction design. It's interdisciplinary program, but it definitely has UX in it. UX is a very large area, but I think it's growing all the time. But most of our students are going for an interdisciplinary approach with UX design. So it is a module within part of the postgrad programs. It is a growth area, and it has been singled out in the future skill needs as well report together for design, and they're saying that that is a growth area. But at the moment, we don't have a specific UX. I don't know if Paddy or in Carlo, if it is. Is it in GMIT, Paddy?
We don't have a UX, a specific
No.
UX postgraduate yet. I think some of my colleagues are working on one. I think Letterkenny do have one.
Yeah, LIT, yes, they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are institutes in the country that have those.
And Dunleary IADT would have one as well, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So what the panelists are mentioning is there are some other institutes, as who are part of the Education Ireland brand. One of them would be Letterkenny Institute of Technology, that would have a UX design course, and also IADT, that's Institute of Art and Design Technology at Dunleary. They possibly would also have that course. If you go onto the Education Ireland website, you will find details about that. Ciara, I think since you are from the arts faculty, okay, maybe you can take this on. Can you tell us about the PG course in arts specific to painting?
To painting. So in where I'm teaching, we have special scholarships for students. They're called the Spread President Scholarships. So depending on the mark you get when you graduate from your undergraduate, you can apply to do these courses. And this is it's a research-based MA, it's a postgraduate course, and there are different subjects advertised each year. So for example, I've just completed with a student who has been looking at heritage and culture and writing about that, and looking at artists and painters who explore in particular Irish heritage and culture. We don't have a specific postgraduate taught MA in painting, but there are opportunities in Ireland to do that in NCAD and also in Crawford College in Cork, among many other places. So ours would be tailored around a specific research question. It's almost like part of a PhD that our students would look at that opportunity.
Okay. I can see there is a question on the student obviously is from India, and they want to know how they can apply for a postgraduate in graphic design. What would be the process? I mean, are you looking for a portfolio, or is their academic grades just sufficient?
Yeah, well, that would be the
Uh,
normal entry requirement for any kind of visual-based courses that we would like to see a portfolio of work that they've done from undergrad to see their skill set and, show, I suppose, notebooks and things like that to see that they're at the same standard as our own undergrad in terms of, technologies that they're using. In Griffith, what we tend to do if a student is falling short in an area and they have an undergrad degree, we do a thing called bridging courses where we may call a student in a couple of weeks before term and, try and get their skill set up to everyone else's just to make sure that everyone's in a level playing field. But for most visual and design courses, there would be a portfolio requirement unless it's a conversion course. So something like the applied digital media or interactive design, you're taking students from all disciplines from humanities through to technical programs. So it's not necessarily a requirement to have the visual skills because it's a very broad interdisciplinary program.
Thanks, Deirdre. There was a question that came on student loans. Please note that student loans is not something that is provided by any of the Irish institutions. You will have to work with your bank or a financial institution in India to get a student loan. So that's not something that Irish institutions can help you with. Uh, there are So there's another question which said, after UG, can you do your PG? Yes, your student visa allows you to study for up to 7 years in Ireland. So after your undergraduate, you can do your postgraduate and then even look at a PhD. So yes, you can study for up to 7 years. So there's no problem with that. Again, somebody is asking about part-time jobs or home-based jobs. If they are already a VFX undergraduate student, would any of you have opportunities like that for them?
I think they'd have to check online. As far as I know, international students are permitted to work 20 hours a week while they're studying. So that's always enticing for international students to come to Ireland, but they can't exceed the 20 hours a week. So it would be something, but if they have a skill set that's in demand, I'm sure there won't be a problem. And VFX is certainly a growth area within Ireland. I'm sure Paddy, because he's a course in that area, might know a bit more about the job opportunities. But international students, it's the visa allows them to work 20 hours a week part-time while they're studying.
Yes, true.
Yeah. Again, the job opportunities, particularly for students in any of these digital areas like visual effects or any of the related areas, the job opportunities aren't just Ireland, because you can work globally from Ireland while you're studying in Ireland, and we have students who do that, and there are various websites that advertise opportunities, short-term opportunities, and short freelance projects and so on that you could sign up to, and you'll get information on that. So we do have quite a lot of students who do small part-time work and so on. But on the other hand, you have to be careful with the balance for that, because you want to balance that with your studies. But the opportunities are there.
Okay. There's another question, and I think I'll just take two more questions, and then people can come and chat with you all at the booth, because I am conscious of time. One question is about a master's in textile designing. What is are there scholarships that would be provided for that, and what would be the criteria? So, does anybody have a master in textile designing?
No, that would be probably the National College of Art and Design, maybe. I'm not sure. Is it in the west of the country with you?
We have a master's degree in creative practice, which gives you flexibility to focus on your own area of practice, and we have had students from quite a variety of disciplines on that program. We have had textile students. In fact, one of our former textile graduates just graduated this year from that program, from the master's in creative practice. So it really depends on your area of focus what you want to do. But because we have quite a variety of disciplines supported on campus, like textiles, painting, printmaking, sculpture, and so on, ceramics. If you come on and do the MA in creative practice, you have access to support in all those areas and opportunities to engage in all those areas. And I think you would have similar opportunities in other institutions.
Yeah, I think Limerick School of Art and Design might be another place for textiles.
Yeah. I think that's about it. I can see there are a lot about graphic design and all those. I think let them come and talk to you all at the booth. That will be better. Thank you, Dr. Paddy. Thank you, Kira, and thank you, Deirdre, for being part of this really wonderful panel. I'm sure the students have know a lot more about Ireland, and they will have some meaningful conversation with you all at the booths, at the various booths. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you all very
Bye.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.